Party leaders fan out across the province, delivering their message to voters on day one of the Ontario election campaign. Good evening and thank you for joining us. Progressive Conservative leader Doug Ford launched his campaign in front of the busiest Canada-U.S. border crossing and took aim at U.S. President Donald Trump.
Ford's opponents, on the other hand, set their sights directly on him. CTV's Siobhan Morris brings us the details from the campaign trail.
The campaign RVs are rolling in a rare wintertime election. Doug Ford launching his campaign in the shadow of the Ambassador Bridge, linking Windsor and Detroit, a symbol of his justification for a vote more than a year ahead of schedule.
I'm asking the people for a strong, stable, four-year mandate to do whatever it takes to protect Ontario.
With 25% tariffs on Canadian goods expected to take effect in a matter of days, the Progressive Conservative leader thinks this election is about one question.
Who do you trust to take care of the people of Ontario and the businesses and the workers when times get tough?
Going door to door in Markham, the Liberal leader says this campaign isn't about Donald Trump. It isn't about tariffs.
This is an election about accountability of Doug Ford and what he hasn't delivered that he has promised to Ontarians.
Including a promise to better access to health care, something Crombie spotlighted in her first campaign stop in Barrie, where 55,000 people don't have a doctor. It's where Crombie took a dig at Ford's recent headwear while sporting some of her own.
You can't slap a label on a hat and pretend you're a leader. Real leaders fix health care.
Fighting her first election as opposition leader, Marit Stiles is making the case for change.
Doug Ford doesn't deserve a third term. It's time for a premier who is on your side.
With new ideas to tackle Ontarians' priorities, Stiles unconvinced Ford is a master negotiator.
How do we expect Doug Ford to take on tariffs and fight Donald Trump when he can't even get you a family doctor?
Shoring up support in his home riding of Guelph, the Green Party leader says over the next 28 days,
we're not going to allow the premier to run from his record.
Aiming to grow his seat count in the legislature.
I think people in rural Ontario especially are sick and tired of a government that takes them for granted, ignores them, has abandoned them.
Because he says Ford has been focused on Toronto problems like bike lanes, the 401, and Ontario Place.
That was CTV's Siobhan Morris reporting. Well, the provincial election race is shaping up in Thunder Bay Atikokan. Former MPP Judith Monteith-Farrell will try to regain her seat for the New Democrats. Monteith-Farrell served in the position from 2018 to 2022. During that time, she served as the NDP's critic for a number of portfolios, including for forestry and mines. Monteith-Farrell says she's ready to be a voice for the North once again.
What we need is to ensure that we have the ear of the politicians, of everyone, that we are unique in the sense that we have unique needs. We have more dire straits when it comes to healthcare, and we don't have the access. Our educational systems, our supports for people with special needs.
Monteith-Farrell is running against Progressive Conservative incumbent Kevin Holland and the Liberal Party's Stephen Marguerite.
Over to Thunder Bay Superior North, where a Progressive Conservative candidate is now in place. Longtime Marathon Mayor Rick Dumas is taking his first run at provincial politics. Dumas was first elected mayor in 2006, and he held that role ever since. He's also the president of the Thunder Bay District Municipal League and served with the Northwestern Ontario Municipal Association for 2 decades. Dumas feels this will be a valuable experience as he tries his hand at provincial politics.
Good relationship with the now Ford government, and of course I've had good relations with the previous government. So always looking at how we can work together rather than how we want to beat up on each other. It's always about what can we do for Northwestern Ontario. The lens is a little different from our part of the world, and we bring that lens to Queen's Park. And I think now I can bring the lens as a longtime serving mayor, as well as a longtime serving mayor in those two organizations.
Dumas is running against NDP incumbent Lise Vaugeois and Liberal candidate Brian Hamilton.
Flipping to municipal politics now. City Council heard Thunder Bay's long-term financial overview at City Hall last night.
That ahead of budget deliberations, which begin tomorrow. That's when changes can be proposed for the 2025 operating budget. Jessica Clement has the details.
City councilors received a general overview of Thunder Bay's 2025 operating budget Tuesday night. City Manager John Collins said they achieved their mandate of a 3.7% tax levy increase.
But overall, I think it is a compelling slide in that it shows that the City of Thunder Bay, at 3.7%, there is only one city of 100,000 people or more that is coming in with a lower tax rate, and that is the City of Vaughan at 3.0%.
Councilors had the chance to comment on the $449 million spending plan and ask clarifying questions ahead of deliberations, which will take place during sessions over the next few weeks. Numerous council members praised administration and what they were able to achieve with the budget.
Got a thumbs up from the Chamber of Commerce on the budget and how it was presented, and the enormous amount of work that went into this. This is a great document, so I commend you on that as well.
I think we have a real cause to celebrate.
Councillor Andrew Folds asked what the 3.7% increase means for the city's service delivery in comparison to other cities whose tax levy was higher.
What does that mean to citizens? Because not only is what they pay important, but what they get is important.
The short answer, and it's a fairly precise answer, is the same as 2024. We are not enhancing service delivery. We are not significantly enhancing any programs. There's a couple small things that we can do through continuous improvement, but they're not going to see any significant increase in service delivery or programs, nor are they going to see any decrease.
The presentation by City Treasurer Carrie Greaves also highlighted the city's overall financial health and sustainability and a financial plan moving forward. The city plans to continue using the Consumer Price Index as a benchmark to reduce the municipal tax levy.
Based on the current CPI data that we have, we are at this time projecting a 2.6% increase for the 2026 budget.
Council will look at the budget in detail during the next session Thursday evening, where the first amendments can be brought forward by councillors. Final approval is set for February 10th. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
Emergency crews responded to an early morning fire today at Cam River Heritage Park encampment. Thunder Bay Fire Rescue arrived around 4 a.m. to find a tent fully engulfed in flames. Only one tent was damaged. 2 people were transported to hospital with unknown injuries, and police are now investigating the incident. Fire Rescue is reminding the public to keep heaters, candles, and open flames away from anything flammable and never leave them unattended.
Thunder Bay police say one person was seriously injured in an overnight assault in the area of Junot Avenue and Windsor Street that happened around 1:30 in the morning. The male victim was transported to hospital. Police have arrested a 19-year-old suspect nearby who appeared in court this morning and remains in custody.
A local taxi driver also has serious injuries after he was allegedly assaulted and had his vehicle stolen yesterday evening. Police were called to the area of Leslie Avenue and Black Bay Road around 7 o'clock. A 33-year-old accused was found, but fled from officers during the arrest. He was later successfully taken into custody, however. They're now charged with 8 offenses, including robbery, aggravated assault, and resisting arrest. The accused in that incident has also been remanded into custody.
City paramedics face significant challenges having to be on the front lines for often violent or traumatizing scenes.
It's why Superior North EMS is welcoming a Toronto area facility to help paramedics recover. Riley Cohen reports.
Canada's first dedicated specialized post-traumatic stress injury center for first responders will be constructed near Toronto, with supports available for local paramedics. First responders from Thunder Bay will have access to these facilities, which will offer mental health assessments, rehab, residential care, virtual support, crisis care, and peer support, as Superior North EMS Chief Shane Meir explains.
I think this is a huge piece to our retention. And by looking after the well-being and the mental health of our paramedics, we're able to see a more resilient workforce. We're able to see people that are better able to handle the stresses and pressures of the job, which are very significant, especially in our community.
Meir noted a spike in post-traumatic stress injury cases since 2016, with 2023 being particularly challenging. The new centers will help reduce time lost due to stress injuries, with one center offering 40 residential beds for first responders. It's estimated up to 23% of first responders suffer from PTSI.
We've seen a significant decrease in those operational stress injuries. We've seen a decrease in our lost time that paramedics were suffering from losing time, being away from work, not being able to be in that operational capacity because of their state of mind. We've seen some positive trends towards improvements. So it's really exciting to see with our new programming, and we want to continue that leverage and continue focusing on the well-being of our paramedics.
On top of these centers, Thunder Bay has its own initiative that's been growing that offers specialized support systems for frontline workers.
So some of the things we've done is created initiatives around a peer support and wellness coordinator that's around full-time. And we also have a team of peer supporters that sit behind him. On top of that, we also have a contracted team of clinical psychologists. And it's been a great initiative. It's been a collaboration with the Thunder Bay Fire Department, and we've been really lucky to see some positive results of that.
Riley Cohen, TBT News.
The Thunder Bay Chamber of Commerce and Anishinaabe Business Professional Association hosted their annual Prosperity Northwest event.
It's a networking opportunity connecting people in a number of sectors that are crucial to the region's economy. Jaden Billick reports.
The annual Prosperity Northwest Trade Show and Conference focuses on the mining, forestry, bioeconomic, and energy sectors, aiming to connect industry professionals, spearhead new partnerships, and explore regional and economic opportunities in our region. With over 60 exhibitors and a wide range of topics presented, Chamber of Commerce President Charlotte Robinson says this is an excellent way to explore new opportunities.
The business trade show folks that are here, many of them are trying to make connections with perhaps some of the new projects that are coming, right? We've got energy projects, we've got mining projects, we've got different things, and it's hard to maybe find the person to talk to, right, just on your own. So they're here, they can make that connection, you know, introduce themselves. Here's what our company offers, and how do we make a connection?
Companies from all over the region travel to Thunder Bay in hopes of developing new partnerships. President and CEO of Superior Strategies, Inc. and Warrior Engineering, Jason Thompson, says the climate for business in Northwestern Ontario is exciting, and this event is one of the best methods of growing.
We have really strong relationships here in the business community. We've been very engaged over the last number of years. You know, I'm the outgoing chair of the board for the Thunder Bay Chamber of Commerce, very active in the Chamber of Commerce for a number of years. And, you know, I feel it's vitally important for us as Indigenous business folks to be participating in events such as this and being a part of the local economies.
Robinson says Prosperity Northwest is all about helping businesses understand what the new upcoming projects are, and provides a story of a small victory that the conference has watched blossom throughout the years.
Way back in, 2017, one of the speakers was about the Greenstone gold mine that opened last year. And we've had them here as speakers throughout that sort of process. Last year, they were able to really say, like, we're opening next year, right? So it was kind of neat to see that you know, pathway of from an idea to we're opening and, you know, we're buying from you already.
Jaden Billick, TBT News.
Well, we'll move now to weather, where I would say that today was a bit of a breath of fresh air with a little bit of sunshine sprinkled in there after having such a snow dump yesterday.
Well, you're trying to put a good spin on the fact that temperatures fell today.
I mean...
and I'm going to blame you for those. Because it wasn't quite as warm as yesterday. We had a low of -14, wind chills of -23. So it was the wind chills that made all the difference. But we did warm up to a fairly seasonal -10 and wind chills of -17, but it's still not quite that warm, cozy -4 that we saw yesterday. We had mostly cloudy skies. We had some drifting snow due to the northwest winds, 11 to 38 kilometers per hour throughout the day. Throughout the region, if we take a look at the radar, you can see most of the day it was around the Wawa, Sault Ste. Marie region. They had a little bit of snow building up. It's been a lot of blowing snow there. Another weak low is moving in from the west, starting to bring in more snow throughout the day up to the northwest towards Red Lake. Fort Frances kind of just clipping them. So they had a couple of flurries, but for the most part, it was mostly cloudy. Temperature-wise, last night to the west, overnight lows ranged from about -17 to -20. And when you see where they warmed up to, they're pretty much close to the high for the day. throughout areas to the west. As you can see, there's that snow continuing in Red Lake, mostly cloudy in Fort Francis. But the wind chills are making it feel about 6 degrees, but a comfortable half dozen degrees above, or I guess in this case below, the temperatures you see. So Red Lake actually feels like -16. Fort Francis feels like -13. As you head further east, though, big difference in temperatures. 16 in Armstrong and -19 in Greenstone with a lot of cloud. It just got cold last night and it stayed cold, and wind chills have been hovering between about -24 and -27 for most of the day. And along the eastern shores, you can see Sault Ste. Marie at -9, wind chills of -20 with that blowing snow. Here in the city of Thunder Bay, we are going to drop down to a low of -13, so it's actually going to be fairly mild tonight compared to what it should be. Wind chills of -19 with increasing clouds and a slight risk of snow to start, just a little bit. Then after midnight, but before morning, we should start to see the beginning of periods of snow. Now, don't expect another big dump like we saw yesterday. That's all Haley's thing. My thing is a little dusting of snow, and that's what we're looking at for overnight tonight, maybe a little bit more in the morning, but we're not completely out of the woods. But the majority of what is coming through the region is probably going to just skirt Thunder Bay.
So what I got out of that is hot weather Haley is responsible for the snow and the cold. It's a topsy-turvy world.
Only if you did not like shoveling and don't like snow.
I didn't.
If
like
you like
shoveling.
it, then I'll take credit.
He's like the #1 fan of shoveling now.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Can't get enough. All right. Well, speaking of things we can't get enough of, there's more tariff talk today. Of course, Saturday is February 1st, and that is the date that Donald Trump has suggested the U.S. could impose those crippling tariffs on Canada. But today, Trump's pick for Commerce Secretary, which would be a key role in Canada-U.S. relations, seemed to suggest that those tariffs might be avoided, at least in the short term. We'll have details after the break.
Respect America. If we are your biggest trading partner, show us the respect. Shut your border and end fentanyl coming into this country.